We have entered week 2 and we've just completed 6 chapters, out of which our first chapter is still left, and now we have to proceed towards the DPSP. After that, when we complete this, we'll complete our constitution subhead under the different heads of the UPSC syllabus. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but we really need to pace fast so that we can complete our revision for polity very soon and go ahead with our other subjects. So let's move to directive principles. See, I looked for the questions for this chapter, and see, fundamental rights has been an important part, we all know, and there have been questions. But for directive principles, when we come in, you will see that it's just one question in 2015 which was given, and apart from that, DPSP, this chapter does not have that much of questions in UPSC, but it is still important. Why? Because all of these articles can be indirectly mentioned and asked in your prelims question, or it can be subsumed with fundamental rights, and then we actually will have to complete it and we'll have to proceed with it. So this is also vital for that, and it's also vital because any questions that ask, we can definitely refer to DPSP and can enhance our answer. So let's quickly go through this. See, this is part 4, Constitution 30, Article 36 to 51, and the framers of the Constitution borrowed this idea from the Irish Constitution. Let's again quickly go through chapter 3 and see where in the Irish Constitution it was written. See, directive principles of state policy have been borrowed from here. What else in the Irish Constitution apart from directive principles? Nomination of members to Rajya Sabha, which would be in the chapter Parliament, and method of election of the president, which I have explained in my precedent video. Also, this is part 4. See, part 3 was fundamental rights we completed. Part 4 we have headed towards. This is directive principles of state policy, Article 36 to 51. And this has been copied from the Spanish Constitution. So in the Irish Constitution we have taken from here, and this again is the Spanish Constitution here. So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar described these principles as novel features. Along with the fundamental rights, it contains the philosophy of the Constitution and the soul of the Constitution, and Granville Austin has described it as the conscience of the Constitution. So let's revise what all is preamble called, what all is fundamental rights called, and thus we can enhance our revision this way. See, you need to revise, you keep revising, and that is the only way we can actually enhance our polity subject. See, this is introduction, preface, summary, essence, identity card. And we also read somewhere here, it is the horoscope, soul, jewel set, keynote. So soul is directive principles also, that is described by B.R. Ambedkar, and fundamental rights also is the Magna Carta of India. And so we go back to our DPSP chapter and see to what all has been given here. See, philosophy, soul, conscience. We have features of the directive principles. Then what do we study? See, we study the classification. It has socialistic principles, Gandhian principles, liberal principles, and the new directive principles. And then we have the sanction behind these directive principles. We have criticism. We have the criticism points, we have the utility, the importance, the significance, we have the conflict between fundamental rights and directive principles, and this is covered by my Article 13 video, which already has been done, and all of this is explained there, so we can skip it here and revise from there. And then we come to implementation of directive principles, where and how can it be implemented, and where all, in what all acts have they been implemented. And there are also some other directives outside the part 4 of the Constitution, and then there is the summary, and then we end this chapter, and then the next video would be on fundamental duties, or the next chapter we revise could be on this. So let's go through the features. See, phrase directive principles denotes the ideals. This we all know that this is the ideal of the state. This is the ideal of a constitution which state can follow, in which part to walk, in which part to function. See, state should keep in mind while formulating policies and enacting laws. These are the constitutional instructions. So it is ideals, instructions, recommendations. And next we go to the second point. See, the instrument of instructions, again enumerated in the Government of India Act of 1935. Like the instrument of instructions issued to the Governor General, directive principles merely another name for the instrument of instructions, and the difference is only that they are instructions to legislature and the executive. So this is important, they are instructions to both. And then directive principles, economic, social, political program again aim at realizing the high ideals of justice, and it is as outlined in the preamble, and they embody the concept of a welfare state, pool state. And directive principles are non-justiciable, can be the fourth point, and not legally enforceable by the courts for the violation. However, FR is justiciable, and this is the whole conflict about. Then we have, though non-justiciable, it helped the courts in examining and determining the constitutional validity of a law. So it's not just an ideal situation for legislature and executive, not just instructions to them. Court can also take a help from the directive principles of the state policy. See, then we come to classifications. It is socialistic, Gandhian and liberal. How can we define? See, socialistic is everything that belongs to the society. In a social status, anything that is important is socialistic. Gandhian principles is all the ideology of Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi's ideology is Gandhian principles. And liberal and intellectual is anything which is in general should have been there, which intellectual people, civilized people do follow. So, socialistic principles is what? To promote the culture, to promote the welfare of the people by securing a social order permeated by justice, to minimize inequalities in income status, facilities. See, Article 38 is what? It first promotes the welfare. See, first of all, we need to come to people. Then only we can go somewhere else. So, when it's people, first we see their welfare. We see when there are 4 people, what is the inequality between them. So, welfare and inequality, Article 38. Then, why is this inequality? Maybe due to the livelihood, maybe due to the distribution of material resources, maybe due to the wealth to one person and not to another. How can we remove this? By equal pay, preservation of the health and strength of the workers, and opportunities for healthy development. So, this welfare and inequality is broken down here. How? Livelihood, welfare, equitable distribution, inequality, prevention and concentration of wealth, equal pay, preservation of the health and strength of the workers. So, until equal pay and the concentration of wealth, again inequalities, and for the welfare, it is again the preservation and the health and the strength and the opportunities for healthy development. So, Article 39 includes all of these subdivisions, which is again both these points we can subdivide into this. So, Article 38 is done, 39 is done. Then is promote equal justice and to provide free legal aid to the poor. Now, when there is inequality, first we see to minimize inequality. How can we minimize this? First we saw what all things we can see, and now what can we do? We can promote equal justice. So again, inequality can be removed, and to provide free legal aid to the poor so that the concentration of wealth that is here can be reduced. Then secure the right to work, to education, and to public assistance in cases of unemployment, old age, sickness and disability. Again, the welfare of the people. This is Article 39A was the promote equal justice and all, and Article 41 is the secure the right to work. So 38 is what? Welfare, inequality. 39 is what? Includes both welfare and inequality portions. Then 39A is just inequality portion. How? What can we do to promote to avoid inequality and promote equal justice? And then Article 41 is again the welfare of the people. Then what do we have? Secure the right to work, to the education. This we've done. And then to make provision for just and humane condition of work and maternity relief. Article 42 again towards inequality, but for women and children now. So this is for equal pay for equal work for men and women. This is again for women and children both. So we can include all of these in the answers. UPSC might not ask it directly that equal pay for equal work for men and women is in which article, and we need to mention it there, but we can enhance by mentioning it under this or this whenever we are talking about women equality, or when there is a topic on inequality, we can mention Article 38 gives us an ideal over this, and thus we can enhance our answer. And then see, to secure a living wage, a decent standard of life, and social and cultural opportunities for all the workers. This is again what? Welfare. So basically you can see that socialistic principles is divided into two parts, welfare and inequality. It's very easy to remember, very easy. And socialistic principles has what? 38 Article 243. Now I can tell you, we can, without seeing, we can actually revise. See, 38 is what? the welfare of the people, we promote this and minimize our inequality. Now 39 is what? A lot of articles are there, so we can say it was about livelihood. Why? Because welfare has livelihood. Then inequality, there was equitable distribution of wealth. We can have equal pay. We had health issues, so health and strength of the worker, opportunities for healthy development we saw. So this was again in welfare. And then we come to article 39A. 39A was also there. So 39A said promote equal pay, promote equal justice. Sorry, promote equal pay was in 39A only. So promote equal justice and free legal aid to the poor. This was again towards inequality. Then 40 isn't here, 41 is here. So 41 says what? 41 says secure the right to work and education and unemployment. So this is here. And then there was 42, it says just and humane condition of work. So this is again inequality part. And then this article 43 is again the welfare part. So it's very easy. See, all of this is just divided into two parts and we can very easily remember all of it. So what all it has? Welfare, inequality, livelihood, wealth, health, strength, development, legal aid, justice, right to work, unemployment, humane conditions, maternity relief, decent standard living wage. So now we know article 42 says about maternity relief. Any day when we have about child development or MMR when it's asked or anything, we can mention the schemes which the government has put up, but with that we can bring this also, that yes, article 42 also says maternity relief, and thus we know that directive principles acts as an ideal. So the government is taking things from here and putting it, implementing it. So this was with socialistic principles. We also have two more points. Take steps towards the participation of workers in the management of the industries, again to the welfare, because this will improve their livelihood, and then to raise the level of nutrition and the standard of living of the people, and to improve public health again to the welfare. This is 47 and this is 43A. So let's change it. It includes 43A and 47 also. So 43 has 43A and 39 has 39A. These two has A part into it. So that means that this might have been added by an amendment. Principle C, based on Gandhian ideology, as I said, represent the program and the reconstruction enunciated by Gandhi. One thing very important, Gandhian principle, Mahatma Gandhi always focused on the village idealistic. He always said that rural has to develop in order to develop the country. So first is what? Village panchayats, and endow them with necessary powers and authority to enable them to function as units of self-government, article 40, and this we know was added by the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, and see when it actually came into functioning, into its implementation. Then so see, article 40 is after 39, 39A and 41, in between that is Gandhian principle. So 40. Then promote cottage industries on an individual or cooperation basis in rural areas again. So 43. 43 is here. 43 is here, and then we had, okay, this was article 42. See, article 43 is here also. Article 43 is here also, do not confuse. And then 43A was here, 43B is here. See, if you don't remember the article, it's not a big deal, but if you do remember the article, it gives you an extra point. So to promote cottage industries in the rural areas, 43. Then promote voluntary formation, autonomous functioning and democratic control and professional management of cooperative society. This was what? 97th Constitutional Amendment Act. So again we see cooperative societies, how important this is. 43B. 43B is about cooperative societies, whereas 43A was about the participation of workers in the management of industries. And thus it's written here. See, 42nd Amendment Act 1976 it was added. And then article 46, what does it say? Promote educational, economic interests of SC, ST and other weaker sections society, protect them from social injustice and exploitation. See, again the socialistic principle has been brought here. So this is that. Then prohibit the consumption of the intoxicating drinks and drugs which are injurious to health. This is very important, and this we will know without any doubt that this is under Gandhian principles, because even Gandhiji led a rally with women also accompanied in that rally, so that people who were into drinks and drugs, their shops were closed down and the protest was taken. And prohibit the slaughter of cows, calves and other milch and brought cattle, and to improve their breeds, article 48. This is also there. Then we come to liberal and intellectual principles. See, to secure for all citizens a uniform civil code throughout the country. This is important, Article 44. See, with this only came the question in 2015. See, discuss the possible factors that inhibit India from enacting for its citizen a uniform civil code as provided for in the DPSP. So if you remember this article, it would be really helpful for you in your this answer as it's mentioned here. But apart from that, you need to know about uniform civil code in particular to answer this question. Then, to provide early childhood care and education for all children until they complete the age of 6 years, Article 45. And this was here, like maternity relief here, childhood care and education is here. So again, when the schemes come, 45 can be written here, and 42 was the maternity relief. Then to organize agriculture and animal husbandry on modern and scientific lines, this is again cattle. Cattle is all Gandhian principles, most of it. So we can know the liberal and intellectual principles, this again is here. And to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard forests and wildlife, 48A. See, this was not even a part of our constitution. We've added it by 42nd Amendment Act 1976 again. Then what do we have? Protect monuments and places and objects of artistic, and this is important, Article 49. So here we can mention, like there is World Heritage Site, we can mention what all is India doing to protect monuments. Then we separate the judiciary from the executive in the public services of the state, Article 50. Promote international peace and security, Article 51. Then is new directive principles, that is all the directive principles added by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976. Secure opportunities for healthy development of children, Article 39. And why was this added? Because this was actually accomplished. Then to promote equal justice and provide free legal aid to the poor. This has also been accomplished. Okay, this was added, but before this things have been accomplished, and this has been a new thing. See, Article 39 is here and 39A is also here. Then we have 43A, to take steps to secure the participation of workers in the management of industries. We saw it here in this, see, again in the socialistic principles. And then to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard forests and wildlife, when I told you here. And then the 44th Amendment Act added one more directive principle, which requires the state to minimize inequalities in income, state facilities and opportunities, which is Article 38. This is here. And then, so this was also added by 44th Amendment Act. And then 86th Amendment Act made elementary education a fundamental right. The amended directives required the state to provide early childhood care and education. This is here in liberal intellectual. And then 97th Amendment Act, cooperative societies. This we know, this was under Gandhian principles, and thus it was added. Sanction behind the directive principles. See, the constitutional advisor to the Constituent Assembly recommended that the rights of the individual should be divided into two categories, justiciable and non-justiciable, and this was accepted. So finally it was decided that fundamental right would be justiciable and directive principles would be non-justiciable. And though the directive principles are non-justiciable, Constitution makes it clear that these principles are fundamental in the governance of the country and should be duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. So when in the Article 13 video, where we discussed about the conflict between fundamental rights and directive principles, we can actually use this as an answer if the question has been asked that Constitution might have emphasized more on fundamental rights because they made it justiciable. We can say that no, because Constitution made it clear that principles are fundamental in the governance of the country and should be the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. So they impose a moral obligation on the state authorities. These are all importance of directive principles and how they hold emphasis in the Constitution yet. As observed by Aladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, no ministry responsible to the people can afford lightheartedly to ignore the provisions in Part 4 of the Constitution. These are all the emphasis of the DPSP. But why DPSP is non-justiciable? This is the answer. See, the country did not possess sufficient financial resources to implement them, and if they are made justiciable, suppose, and then if cooperative societies weren't added before 97, maybe people could have gone to before 2011, maybe people could have moved to court saying that cooperative societies are my rights, are my duties, I should have been having this, why am I not having this? So financial resources to implement them wasn't there, presence of vast diversity and backwardness in the country, so this is very important, and newly born independent Indian state was there, so these were crushed under the burden unless it was free to decide the order, time, place and the mode of fulfilling them. So thus it was kept non-justiciable. And then we come to the criticism of the directive principles. Let's quickly go through them. See, it is no legal force, non-justiciable, so no legal force. So it's like a check on the bank, payable only when the resources of the bank permit. So this is very important to be seen. See, illogically arranged, neither properly classified nor logically arranged. It mixes up unimportant issues with most vital and economic and social issues. So this is illogically arranged. Then it is conservative. Why? Because it has the political philosophy of the 19th century. So now it is conservative because right now the 21st century cannot be answered. It is quite probable that they will be entirely outmoded. So this is another criticism. Then constitutional conflict. Why? Because it leads to a constitutional conflict between the center and the states, between president, prime minister, between governor and the chief minister. The center can give directions to the state with regard to the implementation of these principles, and in case of non-compliance can dismiss the state government. Similarly, when prime minister gets a bill passed by the parliament, president may reject the bill on the ground that these principles are fundamental to the governance of the country and hence the minister has no right to ignore them. Same conflict may occur between the governor and the chief minister. So this is constitutional conflict also involves. And then now utility of directive principles. Firstly, we can mention this paragraph part in the utility. Then we have fundamental to the governance of the country, life-giving provisions of the constitution, philosophy of social justice, lay down that the goal of Indian polity is economic democracy, distinguished from the political democracy. It has moral precepts, so the authorities of the state have at least an educative value. And then they are like an instrument of instruction, remind them of the basic principles. They have served as useful beacon lights. They amplify the preamble. They form the dominating background to all state actions, legislative and executive. And then they also play the following roles. Towards they facilitate stability, continuity in domestic and foreign policies, supplementary to the fundamental rights. The implementation creates a favorable atmosphere for full and proper enjoyment. They enable the opposition to exercise influence and control over the operations of the government, serve as a crucial test for the performance of the government, serve as a common political manifesto. All of these are the utility of directive principles. Significance of the directive principles. Existence, why is important? It is that. Then we have the distinction between the fundamental rights. Why? They are negative as they prohibit the state, positive as they require the state to do certain things. Justiciable, non-justiciable. Aim political democracy, aim social and economic democracy. Have legal sanctions, have moral and political sanctions, but no legal sanctions. Promote the welfare of the individual, promote the welfare of the community. Do not require any legislation for the implementation, automatically enforced, not automatically enforced. Then courts are bound to declare a law violative of any of the FR, and courts cannot declare a law violative of any DPSP. So you see, it's all the if this is the balance, DPSP has the lower side and FR enjoys a better rights, and that is why there was a conflict between the DPSP and FR. And this is all completed in the article 13 video. I will put the link down in the video, you can refer to it there. Then implementation of directive principles, this you should go through and do keep updating this as and how new schemes come up according to the directive principles, because this is important in writing your answers, because this gives your theoretical answers a practical aspect and you can actually be benefiting it from mentioning all of these articles or anything that has been mentioned here. Do go through this and make sure that whenever you're going through, maybe if you have this minimum wages act or payment of wages act, anytime when it comes to the compensation or the payment part, you can include it there. And if you had child and adolescent labor prohibition and regulation act or maternity benefit act, you can mention this there, that how this article that we were discussing of the maternity relief, article 42, this article has been tried to be accomplished from this act, and how, what all ways. So whenever there is maternity thing, you can add this or you can add that if you think that this will only benefit you in the answer. Then directives outside part 4, there are claims of SC and ST to services, and then there is instruction in mother tongue, which is also a directive principle in which is not mentioned in part 4, but there it is an important part. Development of the Hindi language is there. And then the above directives are also non-justiciable in nature. However, they are also given equal importance and attention by the judiciary on the ground that they are also the parts of the constitution, must be read together. So now we see 36 was definition of state, okay. 37 was application of the principles. 38 we saw state to secure social order for the welfare, and it also had what? Inequality part, how it diminishes that. And then C, principles of policy, equal justice, all of this we have already discussed. You can revise it from here. And thus this brings us to an end of chapter 8.